Welcome, dear friends of Artelino. Welcome, dear clients, dear visitors of www.artelino.com. My name is Dieter van Schura and I'm the owner and manager of Artelino Company. Today I want to continue our little series of an introduction to Japanese prints, and today I want to speak about the periods and art movements in Japanese prints. There are basically 5 periods and art movements. The first is the Edo period, the second Meiji period. Well, then we have the Shinhanga art movement, then the Sosaku-hanga art movement, and last but not least, there's everything made after 1945. Okay, let's start with the Edo period. It defines itself quite easily. Edo is everything made before 1867. Okay, let me show you one example. Okay, this is a typical Edo print made in early 19th century. Okay. The Edo period is also called the classical period. And well, there are great names that you may have heard, even at school. Okay, like Utamaro with his beautiful women, Hokusai with his famous series of 18 views of Mount Fuji, and Hiroshige with his landscape prints, but also Kunisada or Kuniyoshi produced during the Edo period. The technique used for Japanese prints of the Edo period is the Japanese woodblock print, and the colors used are natural dyes, natural colors made of minerals and of plants. Okay, let's switch to the Meiji period. The Meiji period is everything made between 1867 and 1912, when the Emperor Meiji died. The Meiji prints are also mostly woodblock prints, but they are a little bit different. First of all, they are more colorful. Well, here's an example made by Yoshitoshi, one of the most famous artists of the Meiji period. And this was made towards the end of the 19th century, and it's a sheet from the famous series 100 Aspects of the Moon. For Meiji prints, mostly synthetic colors were used, which are much stronger. Sometimes they're really gaudy. Okay, the Western, the subjects of the Meiji print is the same as for Edo prints, but there's something new. You can see many Meiji prints, well, that show achievements of Western industrialization, like train stations, locomotives, or people in Western uniforms, and such things. Artists of the Meiji period, or I already mentioned Yoshitoshi, who is considered by most, well, the greatest artist of the Meiji period. Other very famous names are Konichika or Chikanobu, to name just a few. Okay, let's switch next to Shinhanga. Shinhanga is more of an art movement than really a period. It set in 1910, roughly, when the old Japanese woodblock printmaking was pretty much down, because the purpose for which it was made, which was mass media, like advertising, for instance, for kabuki theaters, that was replaced by that time by modern printing methods like offset lithography. And the artists around the turn of the 19th to the 20th century really had a tough time. Shinhanga was a renaissance of the old Japanese woodblock printmaking. They still used the same methods, but they modernized it a little bit. They introduced some Western features. The two most important ones are Western perspective and showing the effects of light and shadows. The old Japanese woodblock print did not know any shadows. Yeah? Okay, Shinhanga was very popular outside Japan. That is so funny. Most of the Japanese prints that were used by the Shinhanga artists were exported mainly to the United States of America. I show you one example. Okay, well, this is a landscape print by Kawase, one of the big names. Shinhanga showed the same subjects as the old Japanese prints of the Edo period, however in a rather in a way that was not in accordance anymore with reality. Japan in 1910 was not the romantic country anymore. What the Shinhanga artists showed was a kind of a Japanese Disneyland. The artists, I want to mention a few names: Kawase, Hiroshi Yoshida, Goyo Hashiguchi, who unfortunately died at a very, very young age, Kozan Ohara, who made mostly prints of birds and flowers, Shunsen Natori for actor prints, and Ito Shinsui, and quite a few more. There's a lot to discover with Shinhanga prints. Okay, next comes Sosaku Hanga. Sosaku means creative prints, and this was a more Western style printmaking. The Sosaku Hanga artists rejected the Shinhanga guys completely. They thought, well, that only a print that was made completely by the artist himself is real art. Creativity was in the center point. And while for Shinhanga prints, okay, the woodblock print carving and the printing was done by specialized people who needed an apprenticeship of many, many years to learn that. The Sosaku Hanga guys, they thought, we have to do everything ourselves. And that is actually how Sosaku Hanga prints look like. They look a little bit challenged technically, a little bit like made by a child. But this is what Sosaku Hanga collectors appreciate so much. There are many, many famous artists. I also want to mention a few. Onshi Koshiro, who was the mentor of the movement, Umetaro Atseshi, Masao Maeda, Shiku Munakata, Hiratsuka Onichi, Sekino Junichiro, and many more. The Sosaku Hanga movement lasted also from roughly 1910 until the 1950s, 1960s, just as the Shinhanga movement. Again, last but not least, and I can cover that with a few words, modern Japanese prints made after 1945. There is actually no clear direction. The woodblock print as a technique was still dominant, but everything was made all kind of styles, from photorealistic to abstract. I'll show you one little example. Okay, this is a nearly photorealistic, I think it's an etching, but you see one thing, it still looks pretty Japanese, and that is the astonishing thing, that although they use also modern Western printing techniques like silkscreen, etching, and so on, it has a Japanese touch. Okay, let's finish this part 2 of the introduction to Japanese prints for today. You can read that on our webpage, articles/Japanese-prints-beginners.asp. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.